Oh, hello, everybody. It's Ken Davenport. Welcome back to the Producer's Perspective Live. You caught me in the midst of trying to organize all the different windows on my screen, but I am here with you now. This is why we need a theme song introduction, which, if you followed last night, you know that I challenged our producer, Mary, to have a theme song introduction done by today. And you know what? She did it. She did it. She's amazing. She did it. This is me we're talking to, so of course I had some edits. I had some changes, but it's coming. It is coming. The Producer's Perspective Live theme intro fun is coming. How is everyone? Doll Wilson, what day is it? It is Monday. I'm getting much better at the days of the week. I've written them on the inside of my underwear, and now I just know every day of the week it is Monday, the 20th. Monday the 20th. Monday the 20th. Yes, Justin Payne, Mary is the bomb. How is everybody? Where is everybody coming in from today? We have Calgary, Canada in the house. Dave McLeod, nice. Good to see you. Drew from Baltimore. Wayne's back here. I think I saw someone from Chicago. Fantastic. Coming from all over the quarantine nation. Glad everyone is with us tonight. We have a fantastic guest. This is a guy that not only is a fantastic man, a wonderful director, just a very insightful artist. I always love hanging out with him, chatting with him, talking about the theater and the biz. He's doing a project with me. We are working on a Harry Belafonte musical based on his amazing life and the music within his life. And Kenny's helping me out with it. I think I just leaked that. I'm not even sure if I was supposed to say it, but I did. It's quarantine. Who cares? So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about a lot of stuff that he's doing. Tony Award winner, Kenny Leon, Raisin in the Sun, TV, film, Hairspray. I did his podcast, by the way. His podcast, on my Producer's Perspective podcast, we recorded live from the set of Hairspray. He was so chill, too. I was like, you're doing a big movie. He was just like, yeah, this is what I do. Anyway, we'll get to him in a second. Don't forget about the Actors Fund. Throw a little coin in that bank if you can. The Actors Fund is doing some incredible work right now. They are working overtime. Where many of us can't work, they are working double time. Don't forget to stay safe, stay healthy, and stay home. Some people around this country are starting to relax our social distancing rules or opening up some businesses. I think maybe in the state where Kenny Leon is. We'll talk about that and just about how he feels in a few minutes. Guess what I did today? I did. Guess what I did today? So if you've been following the last few days, I have decided to learn how to be able to cook. I don't know if we call it cooking yet, but I'm learning how to put something on a plate that is actually edible. I started with this. I had a Saturday night, I made my first wings with the Ninja Foodie. Did we get a copy of the Ninja Foodie? I feel like they should be sponsoring this. Then I ended up yesterday with these. I cooked my first set of pancakes for my daughter. Those were messy, but drowned in enough maple syrup. They were great. Today, guess what I made today? I made a zucchini fritter. A zucchini fritter. Yeah. Wait a minute. This is like weird. First of all, this graphic, Producer Mary, is a little odd. Watch this. Franken zucchini fritter. Anyway, okay, take that away. This is ridiculous. I made a zucchini fritter today from Green Chef. You know what these meal plan kits, Green Chef, they just send you all. I made that. So I'm doing something with my time and hope you are too. If you've done something different, made a zucchini fritter, made a set of pancakes, something you would not normally do, throw it in the live comments. We'll talk about that. Also, gear up. Kenny's coming on board in just a few seconds. Think about some questions, throw them in the comments, and we will ask them. Oh, David has a fantastic hot wing recipe. I feel like I'm okay, David. I feel like mine are pretty good. One and done. My recipe's pretty sweet. Anyway, let's bring on the man of the hour right now, Mr. Kenny Leon from Georgia. Welcome, Kenny.
Hello. How you doing, Davenport?
I'm doing fine. How are you, man? Go Lakers.
Go Lakers, man. This is our year. This is our year.
Yeah, if you don't play, you're bound. Your expectations just won't be set high, right?
So, what do you mean if we don't play? We're gonna play. It's just different.
Yeah,
it's just different.
How are you? How are you doing? You are in Georgia. This is.
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
You're in Atlanta.
I'm in Mableton, Georgia, which is about 10 minutes from downtown Atlanta.
And were you in Georgia when this shit started going down? Were you there?
Yeah, I had a play on Broadway. I had a Soldiers play on Broadway with Blair Underwood and David Allen Greer, and great production. We had 3 more performances. So I was coming in town to toast off the closing of our show. So I came in on that like March 13th or something, and we had a matinee with high school students, and then Broadway was shut down. And so I immediately came back home to Atlanta. So I've been here since the 14th of March, and but it's been great. I've been with family, and if I'm in Atlanta for what, 5 weeks, over 5 weeks, that means that I'm not making any money, or I'm not doing any major work. So I think the universe said it's time to slow down, stay home for 5 weeks, spend some time with the family, spend time with your grandkids, and that's what I've been doing. So it's been tough for everybody, but also I'm finding the beauty in every day, and for me, I just had to get back to routine. So now I have a routine. So I wake up in the morning, I meditate, then I say prayers, then I do 100 push-ups and 100 sit-ups. Then I get up and I start reading. So I'm reading Tennessee Williams, The Night of the Iguana. I'm reading James Baldwin, the Amen Corner. I'm reading Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, and I'm studying up on my shot-by-shot directing for my film work. So I've been reading all day, and then I think some of us are spoiled because I have a library here. I have a film room next door, so I can sit down and watch old movies. I watched The Godfather last night. I'm watching old episodes of Breaking Bad, which I never saw from the beginning. And so it's helping me become a better director, even in this downtime. And also, I spend a little part of my time every day after I have my little spiritual moments, because I read the Bible and I study stuff, and I call my mom. So my mom is in Florida. So actually, I think my mom has been waiting on this time to talk the Bible to me, sit down, let's talk, And so I'm finding a lot to do. I got a lot of. I was so technically horrible. Now I'm learning how to Zoom. I'm learning how to have meetings, talking to folks. I'm talking to, I was set to do 2 films, so all those films are supposed to be moving forward. So the only difference is we're talking through Zoom, every day having meetings. And then on 4 or 5 plays, I hope will come to Broadway. So we keep talking about them. And then I'm a trustee for the Actors Fund, which I love, and we're trying to raise money for the Actors Fund. And Brian Stokes Mitchell has been a great president, and we're just trying to do the right thing for all the people in our industry. Whether they are aging artists, these are camera people, costume people, directors, actors. So I love being on the board of the Actors Fund. So just talking with them, every week or so about what we can do to make people's lives better has been great. I'm also on the board of the Public Theater, and this year I'm directing the gala for the public. So now we have a virtual gala, and that's, I think, June 5th, 6th, or 7th, whatever. But anyway, so I have a lot to do. I'm just thinking about what will make me a better person on the other side of this. And sometimes, we need to slow down. And I look outside, and some of us are lucky to live in homes big enough for us to do all these things. But I think about people down the street from me who are maybe 8 people in one room, or there may be high school students that don't have these cell phones or computers, so it makes us look at the things that have always been there, but the universe is saying, now take a really deep look. I even look at, the deer out back or the birds out back or the lizards. They're behaving different to me. So I'm taking time to even notice, animals and trees and weather, and I miss you, man.
It's likewise. I'm just living here like just man crushing on you right now, like just listening to you preach and I love how you just dove into all this reading and education. Is that a normal part of your life? Do you normally read a ton?
I don't read as much as I'm reading now. So because you're just chasing it. You're chasing the job. You're chasing the producer. You're chasing the gig. You're doing it. It's like, no, for instance, I consider myself to be a spiritual person, and I'm not overly spiritual. I mean, I like the idea of developing the mind, the soul, and the body equally. And then you could be the best person that you could be. But I wasn't reading nearly enough of just the spiritual stuff. So hey, just take 20 minutes a day, read that. Or I wasn't spending enough time, looking at the plays I want to do in the future. Settle down. Or I didn't write a lot before. I'm a director, an actor, producer, but now I've started to write some things, just writing about, what's going on in my head, So I'm doing things, let's say, more of what I was doing, and I'm doing it equal every day. And then I got a Peloton bike. So I'm on that Peloton bike, and I'm like, oh my God, I need that, so I'm working out every day. And I'm hoping by the time I hook up with you and we start working on Mr. Belafonte's work, I'm hoping I'll be more in shape physically, and I think that I'll be in a great place spiritually, and hopefully, intellectually and mentally, I'll be the director that you've hired.
I love it. How will you try to keep these habits? This is all about habit forming, right? It's creating habits. I love you have a routine every day. I talked about this last week. Do you think you will keep some of these habits? Will you try to, or is this
100%? 100%. I think if I'm the same person after the pandemic that I was before the pandemic, then I haven't learned anything. So I clearly plan to spend more time, as my mother would say, why don't you read the Bible? Okay, I'm going to spend more time doing that. I'm going to spend more time in the gym. I'm going to spend more time reading about Tennessee Williams and James Baldwin. I'm going to spend more time looking at the things that separate stage from film. I'm going to spend more time because I realize now, all we have is our time, and we can control what we do with it. And what the pandemic is teaching me is that I thought I was doing okay, but I was wasting a lot of valuable time. And also what I've learned is that, this tells you who you want to spend time with. You know what I mean? It tells you, I want to spend a little more time with my grandkids. I want to spend a little more time with my woman. Not more than enough, but just a little more. And I want to spend, and those people who have negative energy, I want to not spend as much time with them. I don't want to be with producers that we don't share the same love and intentionality of what we're trying to do to the world. So this pandemic is telling me, what I should do with my time, how I should spend it. And so absolutely, I will continue to do some of these things. But what things I miss though, I'm a restaurant guy. I'm a bar guy. So I miss that, you know what I mean? But so I'm still going to do that and hopefully find a way to do it with the people that you really care about or people you want to get to know. So I miss the artistic, intellectual circumstance of walking down 8th Avenue and bumping into a designer or a playwright or, all those things that we get from being in the theater and being in New York City. Somebody asked me last week, they said, what about the new theater or the new New York? I'm like, I'm not thinking like that. I'm thinking like what is it that we give to society? We gather people and we tell stories and we help people learn from each other. All those beautiful things that we do, I think we might do them a little different, but we have to realize that's our value to society. And so I'm looking forward to getting back to doing what we do, but doing it better, because during this time off, we're realizing how we can become better artists.
Mm. So you're a master director, Tony Award-winning director. What's one thing you've learned about directing that you're like, oh, I'm going to start doing more of this, like that even you've learned in this process? What's one thing that you've learned?
Well, I had started doing it when I did American Son for Netflix last year with Kerry Washington. And then the year before that, I worked with Lauren Ritloff on Children of a Lesser God. And I had started listening to the voice of women more, because I realized sometimes as a director, you think you have it all. You think it's right there. And even for me, I'm a liberal-minded thinking guy, but I realized that I just want to hear the woman's voice more, and I want to protect the sacredness of that voice. And I think that how we have treated women in our country for the last 100 years have been like, that's not cool. And even me, who thought we were doing okay, I realized that I'm not. So I'm really interested in the women's voice. I'm really interested into how to integrate music more in the dramatic art form. And if you know, the last 2 or 3 things that I've done, Much Ado About Nothing, American Son, and A Soldier's Play, I use more music in those productions. So I'm more curious about how to integrate music into dramas.
You mentioned that you were reading or looking at things that you wanted to do in the future, and Eric Christopher Jones here asked you that same question. Is there a story, book, or script that you'd love to direct? Is there something you haven't done that you're dying to do right now?
100%. There's a lot of things. But for a long time, about 3 years ago, I did when the hurricane happened in Puerto Rico, I did a benefit with Broadway Across America involving the Captain Avengers cast, Scarlett Johansson and that whole team. And we did a one-night event, and we raised $500,000 in reading Our Town. So when I was growing up, Our Town was just, oh, that's the white high school stage manager play. It has nothing in it for me. And then I discovered that if you diversify that cast racially and generationally, you can discover a beautiful play that is just one of the best plays ever put on paper. So for me, I would love to do Our Town for Broadway, and I would love to do it and casting it with some older actors and then some people of color, and then integrate music there in a way that's different than it's been used in the past. Because the only thing that separates cultures is like, what we do. Like I love Jewish tradition. I love their marriages. I love their weddings. I love and then I look at the traditions of a Southern Black guy. You know what I mean? Like our funerals are long. Our dinners are long. So I look at those things that separate us, and usually you can just find a way to integrate music or integrate the specifics of that culture into one of these bigger plays to have a universal appeal for everybody. So I tried to do that a little bit with Much Ado, and I tried to do it with Soldier's Play, but I would love to do Our Town.
Are you working on this?
No, I'm not. I don't have, I think the rights are tied up somewhere, but I would love to do, Our Town.
I'm going to make some calls tomorrow just to find out a little bit more, or we'll talk, because that's a fantastic idea. Fantastic.
And it's one of those things like, I just see it in my head so clearly. See, yeah.
Heidi Swartz-Casson asks here, do you have any favorite young writers or directors? Like who are you looking at as the next generation as like?
A lot of people. You know, I used to run a theater company called Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater Company in Atlanta, and the new artistic director Jamil Jude handed the theater off to him a year ago. He is incredible. Does an amazing job. The artistic director at Oregon Shakespeare Festival is really amazing. St. Louis Repertoire has a wonderful new artistic director there as well. Camille Forbes, who used to be one of my associates, who's now running the Apollo Theater. That girl is fierce. She's a fierce director, and yeah, I would hire her if I was a producer in a minute.
So why? What's great? What makes someone a fierce director? What do you?
What I find in directors that I respect, they have passion. They have passion, and they have a way of telling a story that engages you, even if you didn't want to go along for the ride. And most of the time, I'm excited by plays that have actors in the same story. Plays that don't work for me, productions that don't work for me, it feels like the actors are fighting for themselves. It feels like this actor's in that play, this actor's in this play, but when I go to see a play and you have 10 actors and all 10 of them tonally are in the same story, going up the same hill, that's totally directorial, you know? And it takes a lot to get 10 actors to go up a hill, you know, the same way, with the same force, same tone. And you can see that. It's like I stand in the back of theaters, and if my head is doing that and everybody else's head is doing that and somebody is asleep, I'm like, oh, there is no focus. There's what I call controlled focus. So when I see a young director, I stand in the back of the theater and I see how the audience is taking in the work. If they're all looking the same place over 2 hours, then somebody has done a good job of, you know, geometrically putting people where they need to be, emotionally setting the tone, moving the energy along. Yeah.
What do you think the audience is going to be like when we get back up and running? Do you think this is going to affect either the types of shows that they want to see, their responses?
Who knows? Some things we don't know. So I look at the things we can control. I think just like how now I realize that I miss my grandkids, I think people are going to realize how much they miss storytelling, how much they miss being in the same room with people, and how they miss going to a restaurant after a great play. So I think people are going to want that back, and hopefully we'll solve this the virus issue so we can get back to what we give to society. So I think it'll be better, because I think we'll learn something from what we have been through, and we'll probably integrate that into what we loved all before.
If you could pick, if there could only be one play written about the pandemic, only one, who would you want to write it?
Oh.
And I'll give you living or dead.
Okay. Well, living, I would want Jeremy Harris, who did Slave Play, to work with my friend who wrote Inheritance. So I want Matthew and Jeremy to work together.
That's mind-blowing.
And just go somewhere. You know what I mean? One thing and I'm not saying that I necessarily loved Slave Play, but what I did love about it, I love that writer. I loved his head, you know what I mean? And I loved the way Matthew thinks. So I'm looking for artists who are thinking and who are courageous to just put it on paper, and it's like my friend August Wilson used to say, when people would, give him notes after a play, he would say, where were they when the page was blank? And so I think that Matthew and Jeremy would be great to, give a blank page to them and just see what they would come with that. But yeah, the two of them writing something about what we've been through in these last, 40 days? Absolutely.
So the other idea would be someone should write a play where it's Jeremy Harris and Matthew Lopez trapped together in a quarantine, because that's also a play in itself. It's like a title of show thing. I would want to see that experience if they're trapped in the same room together.
I don't know if I want to see that. I think they would be, I don't know if they could be in the same room together. That's just too much. Unless they were working on a piece of art.
Let's just see what other. Oh, there's Crystal Taylor actually just had asked what you thought of Slave Play, so we got that answer for you there. Terry Crandert asked about how you got involved with the Wiz Live, and I saw you on the set of Hairspray Live. Tell me how you've enjoyed doing those live theater experiences. We're not seeing any more of them right now.
Yeah, you see a few. I mean, you said Jesus Christ Superstar, but what happened was Bob Greenblatt, who was the passion behind those live television shows, who is no longer at NBC. So he's at HBO now. So, that was his baby. And then Craig Zayton, who was Neil Maron's partner, he passed away a couple years ago. So, the live musical format sort of lost its steam, but I think it's still going to come back. I think it was the most scariest thing ever to do Wiz Live, because we did the Wiz Live after it was on The Sound of Music, and then it was Peter Pan, and then they called me to do the Wiz Live. So no one had a roadmap. No one knew how to do this. And it was scary it was scary, but it was also one of the most rewarding things ever. Derek McLean designed the set for us, and we had to figure that out. And, the first thing that people always talk about is when you're developing those things is, well, what about the audience? Do we need an audience? And I always felt like the audience were the people at home. I did not want the people at home to look at other people looking at the art. I wanted to bring the art to the people at home and wanted to treat them like they were in the theater. And hopefully if they had a good experience, then they would tell their friends to go see more live theater. And then Hairspray, Jerry Mitchell and Harvey, those guys were great. And we had 800 people on the crew for Hairspray Live. And that's when I talked to young people. I said, everybody can't be an actor. Everybody can't be a director. But if there were 800 people on the crew for Hairspray Live, that means there are 800 different jobs. Research, find out what you care about. You like costumes, you like clothes, there's a place for it. You like dealing with sign language or understanding hearing, they got a place for you. But do your research, and there's a lot more places for people to work. In front of the camera, behind the camera. And also last year I had the opportunity I did Dynasty. I did a musical episode of Dynasty, which I really loved. Liz, who's a star of that show, she's just really incredible. But that was exciting to me. So I like to go back and forth from stage, episodic, live musicals. I did Toni Morrison's opera once upon a time. So I've done opera. I feel like I'm blessed.
Well, speaking of, that was terrific advice. And but what if Emily Barnett asks if you have any advice for a young actor of color from Gainesville Theater Alliance wanting to audition, or just if she's not yet ready to go to one of the other 800 jobs, she wants to be an actress. What would you tell a young lady of color to do to make it as an actress?
Call Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater Company.
Look at this.
Jamil Jude is the artistic director there. They have auditions, I think, biannually for non-equity actresses and actors. So just look up the phone number or call them at truecolorstheater.org, and they can help you out.
Look at that. That is an actionable item right there. I love it. Any other tips, Kenny, for all of us on getting through this and maintaining the incredible positive attitude that you have? And
Well, I just take it from my mother. Don't. I'm not getting overly religious here, but my mom said, "God is good in the troubled time, and God is good in the peaceful times. It's the same God." So there are things we can learn now that we can apply to when times get better. And just think, whenever things have been bad in our lives, didn't we always get past it? So let's get past it, and let's, love is strong. Love is strong. Love is strong. It's the biggest force on the planet.
I love that, and I love you. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, man.
Look forward to seeing you soon. I'll give you a call.
All right. Peace.
Peace. Bye-bye. Kenny Leon. I don't have to say anything more than that. That's it. That's the man. That is a guy that I'm proud to call my friend. That is an example of why I'm doing these live streams, because I would call someone like that and they would blow me away over the phone and inspire me and get me up at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning so I can do my reading and my routine and get going and then come here and chat with all of you. I'm so glad you are here for that. Those of you who are watching live and those of you who are watching on the replay, keep watching. We're bringing you a whole ton more people for the next however long. Who knows? We're just going to keep on doing this and doing this and doing this so that we can stay up and get things done. Show them, Mary, who is coming up. Who do we got? Look at these incredible people. Rob McClure, there's Kenny, Ali Stroker, Julie Halston, Julia Santino Fontana, Justin. We have Ryan Scott Oliver's tomorrow night. Stay tuned for Ryan tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Joe Iconis later in the week. A whole ton of incredible, incredible people all here for you and for the Actors Fund. You heard Kenny shout it out. The Actors Fund. The Actors Fund. Give a little something. If you believed in what Kenny had to say, give a little something. He will appreciate it. He's on the board. I'll say we raised the most money when you were on. It'll go a long way. He'll score some points with Stokes. So thanks for that. Don't forget to stay safe, stay healthy, stay home. You got to tune in tomorrow night because who knows what I'm going to cook, right? You may see another picture like this one. Zucchini fritter. Zucchini fritter. Okay, something to make you smile. Something to make you smile. Look, you know what? You know this thing has been dragging on when someone makes a viral video and then they make a sequel. That's right. It's Broadway Coronavirus Medley Part 2. Oh, man, this poor guy. He was like, I made a great parody video, and it's taken off. And then weeks later, he's like, what the F am I going to do now? I'll do another one. Broadway Coronavirus Medley Part 2. Go to Producer's Perspective Smile. No, producersperspective.com/smile. Mary will put the link up. You will go click on it and watch it, and you will have a great time as you drift off to sleep tonight. Wake up for another day tomorrow, get through it, and we'll be here for the live stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a lover of live theater. We will be back tomorrow, and the live theater will be back too. Thanks so much, folks. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.